ebyobufuzi, ebyenfuna, eddiini, ennono n'ebyobuwangwa byonna bisange wano ku Olutimbe TV.
Olutimbe TV. Be informed. Bobby, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan, and it is an honor to host you today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, my brother, for hosting me. I am honored to be here. I send revolutionary greetings to you, brothers and sisters in South Sudan, and in particular, the concerned citizens of South Sudan. I also want to mention that they are concerned citizens all over them, because the challenges of South Sudan are challenges of the entire region. We are your immediate neighbors. We share a border, but we share so much more than just a border. So I'm very glad to be here to share with you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Thank you, indeed. Thank you so much. Now, with that, Honorable Robert Kigolani, who is known popularly by his singer name, Bobi Wine, welcome to the show one more time, and thank you positively for responding to this invitation. Now, I have shared introduction with our viewers and part of profile as well. And now I want to go ahead and continue with our discussion here with the question. Could you please share with us part of your memorable memories in music industry as a singer and dancer, actor, please?
Thank you. I am passionate about music, about art, and I'm thankful to art and the talent, because that's what made me known all over the country, the region, the continent, and the world. As a matter of fact, I had quite a number of music shows in South Sudan while I still had that freedom. Unfortunately, today, my music is banned, and restricted radio stations and TV stations cannot play my music, and many people have actually been abducted, arrested, tortured, and some killed for only playing my music. I am aware that music and art, by extension, is a very, very powerful tool in the fight for freedom, liberty, and democracy, and that is why the dictators always are scared of artists and do everything to make sure they silence them.
Now we move on. Musicians continue to sing and enrich their societies with a variety of messages and entertainment. Their fans, with their incredible talent, far away from the world of politics. But you were different. You quit music and you headed toward the world of politics. What inspired and motivated you to quit the music for politics?
Thank you. Just to correct you, I did not quit music. I still love music. I will sing until the day I am buried. So I did not quit music. However, I just continue to use my music for opening the eyes of the people until I touched dangerous zones. And I mean, we only grow by going into unknown areas. Getting into music, I've said it before, that it was not because I had the best voice or because I wanted so much money, but because I had something to say. I wanted to use my voice as a communication tool. And yes, I did it, although initially I was singing about sanitation, about fun, and about representation of the ghetto where I come from. Some 15 years ago, I had an incident where I was attacked and beaten and humiliated. And that is when I realized that maybe the voice that I had to use it more to secure rights and to have a voice for people. That's when I transformed my music from just entertainment to edutainment. But even from the inspirations I had, people like Bob Marley, people like Buju Banton, people like Michael Jackson, they used their music to communicate the plight of the people where they come from. And one of my greatest inspiration is Fela Kuti. Fela Kuti said that music, especially in our oppressed societies, is not supposed to be for only fun. Music is supposed to be for revolution. So since I realized that my music is a weapon, I decided to use it morally. And yes, it has benefited myself, the cause that I stand for, and my people.
Thank you. Thank you so much, for giving that insight. Now, could you please share with us your experience as an MP in Uganda Parliament representing Kidundu County of Wakiso District in central Uganda? Forgive me if I said the name wrong.
No, the name is Chadondo, but you pronounce it in a very interesting way. And I will not be surprised when I go back and the Ugandans are calling it Chadundo because it sounds musical. I was elected to Parliament in 2017, and I went to Parliament at a very critical time, a time when Gen Museveni was scheming to change the constitution yet again. Remember, in 2005, he had moved a bill to scrap term limits after the constitution was stopping him from ruling Uganda further, and he succeeded. So this time around, Gen Museveni had one more stoppage, and that was the age limit. Gen Museveni was approaching 75, and according to our constitution, no leader would be able to stand when he or she goes beyond the age of 75. Gen Museveni, using the military and using taxpayers' money, he was bribing his way and beating, shooting, and killing his way to the amendment of the constitution. It was tough because I committed to fighting the abrogation of our constitution. Unfortunately, Gen Museveni forcefully had his way after killing many Ugandans, after attacking the parliament with the military, where many parliamentarians were bruised. The Honorable Betty Namboze is in America today receiving treatment after that parliamentary attack. He had his way. However, that is when we decided that if Gen Museveni has forced the change of a constitution, we will still challenge him legally. And that is why my team and I decided that we challenge him. I stood and represented my team, which was a political movement at the time called People Power. I stood for president. Towards the election, introduced a political party called the National Unity Platform, which I lead together with my team. And that was, in brief, our parliamentary experience.
Yeah. Thank you. For your record, I asked that question because many people, they have said that you are inexperienced when it comes to politics. But they are not aware that actually you were an MP representing that district, that particular district. Thank you so much for giving that, experience explanation. Now, many South Sudanese look at you as a replacement to a long-time political rival to President Yoweri Museveni, Dr. Kize Busiga. What is your comment of this?
I don't look at individuals.
Yes.
I salute Dr. Kiza Besigye for the fight, for the morality he has stood for the values, but most importantly, for the inspiration. I am honored to be his friend and his neighbor, and we get along very well. However, still it was his inspiration that got me into the leadership of our country, because in one of our many conversations, he said that their generation rose to the occasion when they were still young. So he said, that inspired me to also take charge, to rise to the occasion and represent the ideas that my generation represented. We still get along very well. I would salute General Museveni only if he stood by the words that he said when he was my age. When Gen Museveni came to power in 1986, he said Africa's problem are the leaders that overstay in power. Africa's problem in general and Uganda's problem in particular. Unfortunately, after 36 years and counting, he still wants to lead Uganda. You know, so I lost, and I believe many other Ugandans and people of Africa and the world lost respect for him. We view him as a hypocrite, as an old man that has no respect for his age or his words. That is something that we want our children not to learn. In Africa, we respect age. We look at elders as fountains of wisdom and morality. Unfortunately, for Gen Museveni, it's the absolute opposite. And Gen Museveni has unfortunately infected leaders in the region with this impunity. Uganda, instead of exporting morality, it is exporting immorality, it is exporting impunity, it is exporting dictatorship. That is why all leaders that hobnob with Gen Museveni pick a little bit of that impunity and dictatorship.
Thank you so much. And we continue. Now, what do you think people of Uganda lack, that which is not done for them by the previous government, including the current one, that you would do if you become a president of Uganda?
The people of Uganda have not been respected. They have not been respected because we strongly believe deep within us, and it's even engraved in our constitution, that power belongs to the people. Unfortunately, we in Uganda and many other African countries, it's the opposite. Uganda, since 1962, when we got independence, has never seen a peaceful transfer of power. That is what the people of Uganda want, to see one leader handing over peacefully and morally to another leader. That is what the people of Uganda want. That is what we aspire for. We aspire to see democracy, to see people go to the polls, choose a leader, and that leader is respected, to see that leaders are answerable to the people. The people of Uganda are missing out on respect for their rights. The people of Uganda are missing out on respect for the rule of law. That's what the people of Uganda want. And I believe the people of South Sudan and many other countries in Africa.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Thank you so much. Now, if I may ask this question, what are your future plans? Are you still willing to run for presidency in 2025 Uganda presidential election? What are your plans?
I'll say, first of all, the plans should not be my plans as an individual. I stand here not to represent myself. I stand here to represent 45 million Ugandans. Which 45 million Ugandans include many equally or even more talented and more knowledgeable young people, young men and women. So it should be a plan of a nation. Our plan should be to free ourselves. We cannot talk about another election. We just came out of an election where I was arrested on nomination. We just came out of an election where my entire campaign team was rounded up, arrested. Many of them are still in prison. As we speak right now, we just came out of an election where the military unleashed terror and massacred hundreds of people, including women and children, for protesting an illegal arrest of a presidential candidate. We just came out of an election which went on when I was under house arrest, when the internet was switched off. We just came out of an election where election observers from the US and European Union were blocked from entering the country. We came out of an election where journalists were deported, international journalists were deported, where radio stations were blacked up, power was switched off. We just came out of an election which was not an election, but a mockery of the same. So we cannot talk about election now in the current circumstances. We are talking about fighting to free ourselves so that we can have a realistically free and fair election.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, what do you think about the general situation in the East, in the region of East Africa? Cooperation, politics, trade, economy, and diplomacy. I'm talking about our region. East Africa?
I'm looking at chaos in East Africa.
Mm.
I'm looking at chaos, and the grandmaster of that chaos is called Gen Museveni.
Yes.
He exports chaos in South Sudan, exports chaos in,
Yes.
in the Congo. You see the challenge that Congo is grappling with, and many other African countries.
Mm.
I see the plight of Africans, suffering under the yoke of oppression and dictatorship and violence, state-inspired violence. However, I will not only be pessimistic. I'll say I'm optimistic because I see a generation of young men and women rising to the occasion to save their countries. I see a lot of resourceful, intelligent, and talented young South Sudanese, young Ugandans, young Kenyans, young, Tanzanians, young, all young people across the region are rising to the occasion and want to be the one to determine their destiny. So I see a fight between the past and the present, between the young and the old, between good and evil, between democracy and dictatorship. And guess what? Democracy is winning. Good is winning. Young is winning.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much. Now let's move on. What are your political tools and mechanisms for bringing about political change in the Republic of Uganda?
While we are grappling with challenges, we have tools. Among them is communication, social media. It has played a great role in, especially in a situation where traditional media is shrunk. The media space is completely shrunk. In Uganda, in Uganda's case, for example, Facebook is banned in Uganda. However, the young people are going around the ban and using VPN. So besides the technology, we have a resource of young people. That's a tool. That's a tool. That's why we focus so much on opening their eyes and reminding them that it's not just about the politicians. It's about them. Back in Uganda, and you'll pardon me, I'm giving so many examples about Uganda because that's where I come from. Back in Uganda, Gen Museveni is no longer fighting with the intellectuals. He's no longer fighting with the politicians. He is fighting with common people. He's fighting with market vendors, with the barbers, with the farmers, with the students, with taxi drivers, because there has been massive awakening of the people of Uganda. And that's what I encourage the people of South Sudan and the people of Africa to massively awaken young people, so that when the politicians, when the intellectuals are attacked, the dictator is wasting time. We are awakening millions of people, and that's a major tool that we're using.
Thank you so much. And I know you have other business to take care of today, but we are moving along here. Now let's move South Sudan. You stated during your last presidential election campaign that you would cut diplomatic ties between Uganda and South Sudan if you become the president of Uganda. My question to you in this regard: why would you cut a diplomatic relationship with a sister country like South Sudan, which share with Uganda people a lot of things in common, especially after South Sudan actually break away from Sudan? I see that Uganda are more beneficial. GDP from Uganda jumped up from being way down to upper 30, billion dollars. I want you to weigh in on this. Why would you cut a tie with South Sudan? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. For clarity, I did not say I would cut ties with South Sudan. I would never do that, because Uganda and South Sudan, we are brothers and sisters. We depend on each other. We live for each other. So I would not cut ties. However, I would not be a representation of dictatorships. We would deal with South Sudan, not with an individual. you know. And that has been the tragedy of Africa, where relationships are with individuals and not with the institutions. You know, I would not be exporting impunity or importing impunity. No, we would be having a moral collaboration as sister countries. South Sudan is one of my favorite places, you know, so I definitely would not cut ties, but I would make sure that our relationship as two sister governments is a relationship based on shared values, not shared immoral interests.
Thank you. Thank you so much for clarifying and make it clear to the people who took you out of context, that actually will cut ties with South Sudan and South Sudanese people. Now, as we gather here in capital of Lithuania, Vilnius, for World Liberty Congress, which is ended today, this conference, what does that mean? What does that mean to us as a region of Africa, and what does that mean to the world, people who are fighting for justice, liberty, and prosperity and democracy?
I'm very appreciative for being part of the World Liberty Congress. This one of the platforms that bring us together, and we should have more of this. The tyrants are working closely together. Yeah. They are standing in each other's corners. They are rooting for each other. We must do the same, like we have been taught in the past, that those that want freedom and liberty must be as united and as hardworking as those that seek to enslave them. You notice that the world's tyrants are standing together, are defending each other, are rooting for each other. No wonder when one dictator is overthrown in a country, he or she will run to another country that is ruled by a dictator. Do you remember Yahya Jammeh and all these other dictators? That's what happens. So we who want freedom and democracy need to stand together and work together. We must not work in isolation of each other. We are stronger when we are together. We are louder when we are together. We are more effective when we are together. And we learn a lot from shared experiences. So this was such a great opportunity. And I'm looking forward to many, many more other opportunities of bringing us freedom fighters together.
Honorable Bobi Wine, I really appreciate you coming in. But before I let you go, I want you to send a last message to the people of Uganda, a last message to our region, the region of East Africa, who have suffered for a very long time. Please.
To the people of Uganda, to the people of South Sudan, people of Kenya, people of Africa, especially the young people. I always focus on the young people because they are the future. And I will say this: we are the continent, we are the future, we are the change we badly need. We are the youngest population in the world, we stand a chance. We are the leaders of the future, and the future is today. If we only come together, we can change our destiny. If we only come together, we can change our destiny. Let us come together. Let us know each other. Let us connect. Let us learn from each other.